And there are some of the existing site conditions. Dunham's has left behind, but Pickler will be picking up where they left off and freshening up these landscaping areas, perimeter landscape areas around the site, updating new signage, repainting the building, as well as the interior improvements. And this is just a view of what was approved back in 1994, just sort of emphasizing the location of those landscaping areas, walkways, and fencing on the site. So Planning Commission has recommended approval last month, and there are a number of conditions, primarily just sort of property maintenance, getting a scope of work to indicate what is going to be completed by the Pickler. Again, just maintenance of that landscaping and improving some of the walkway and pavement areas on the site, as well as some of the other alterations on site, including a bicycle rack and lighting upgrades if needed. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Thanks for the presentation, Mr. Chair. Are there any questions from the members of the Common Council on our public hearing this evening? Seeing a lot of no's. No questions. Are there any questions from the members of the audience on our public hearing this evening? Please remember to turn the microphone on. Give us your name and address.
Hi everybody, my name is Neil. I have a couple very small questions. Will this place have a liquor license? Selling alcohol?
No.
No? Am I allowed to ask, the other new place is opening up in West House, the Slingshot place, will that have a?
This is actually just on this item, this public hearing is. So
It's a new place, so I figured it all ties together. Will that place have a alcohol liquor license?
Yeah, you're talking about 63rd and National?
Yes.
Yes.
Will the
Mr. Stefik, I'm sorry, the
new
questions
right
are
across the
for
street,
this
will they
public
also have a
hearing
liquor
are on the
Yep, they're all brand new
the
places.
Pickler. Well, no, it's on the Pickler specifically here. You can, so that's what's in front of us. So if you have questions about that project, you can ask questions on that.
Then I'll ask questions on that then. Will that place have a liquor license?
He already said no.
No.
So the event space will have a,
That's not on the agenda right now.
so we're not answering that?
No, this is a public hearing on a proposed use at 2550 South 108th Street. That's what the questions are about.
Okay.
So if you want to bring this up during public participation, you can ask the questions, but we can't answer them because it's not agendized. But
So later on in the meeting.
you can ask, but we can't answer.
All right, I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on public hearing number 1? Okay, we will close our public hearing and we will move on to item E, which is public participation. This is where the council may receive information from members of the public during this 30-minute period. Each speaker must announce to the council their name and address, sign in at the podium, and limit their comments to one statement of no longer than 5 minutes. The council cannot take action on topics raised by the speakers and will not discuss topics with the speakers. So is there anybody that wishes to address the council under public participation? This would be your chance.
Hello, everybody. I'm still Neil Stefik. I can't answer any questions, but I do have a couple thoughts. I love that West Dallas is growing. We've got these new projects opening up. We got some new places, larger places opening up with liquor licenses. Apparently, we have a Slingshot place opening up. We have a new event center across the street, apparently getting a liquor license. In the back of my brain, I wonder where these liquor licenses are going to be coming from. I don't know, honestly, how many we have open, how many to use. But if we don't have any to use, do we just create more? Obviously, I can't answer any questions. These are just things that I have to wonder about. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the council under public participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close public. Go ahead. And again, just a reminder to give us your name and address in 5 minutes, please.
All right. My name's Brett Cooley. Live in West Dallas, 2048 South 74th Street. I'm here in support of the Drunk Uncle. I've gone there since right after it opened from COVID. Neil's built a fun wrestling community there. All the pay-per-views are there. I wasn't at the April 17th meeting, but just wanted to raise a few points for things Neil's done for the community. When Incrediroll closed, he bought all the skates. They were sitting in his bar, and he donated all of them to whoever wanted them. They could come in, pick them up, no cost. I also remember a time where he bought a number of bikes, and he had, I don't know, was it like 50, 100 bikes in the bar? Donated them to any kids that wanted to come in and pick them up. He's raised money for the police department over the years, a number of other things at the bar. And I don't remember what council members said it. I saw it on the news after the April 17th meeting that you're aware of this bad behavior, since the bar was open for 12 years. Well, if that was the case, then why were members of this council at that bar while I was there numerous times? So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the council under public participation this evening?
So my name's April Krusch. I live at 8111 West Raymond Lane. I'm for the Drunk Uncle as well. I just want to have everybody remember that, yes, so many things have happened, but this is also a safe place. For example, we are very accepting of the community of people who have disabilities. We have multiple people who come in. For example, we have one gentleman named Sam. He comes in to a lot of our wrestling events, and we're all of his friends. Closing down this establishment, you are going to rip away everybody that he has grown to love. He feels safe coming there. We're his friends, and he's going to have nobody. We have multiple other people that are socially awkward, and they can come there and they feel accepted. They feel loved, they feel supported, and it's somewhere they can actually be themselves. And taking away this liquor license and everything that Neil has built, you're only going to tear the community apart. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the council under public participation this evening? Can you push the button to turn the mic on, please? Bottom center, I think, on the console.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
My name's Joseph Butterfield, 10315 West Greenfield Avenue. I want to come to speak on behalf of Neil. Our community has had a very rough time when it comes to small businesses since the pandemic. We're all having difficulty surviving, and I just feel like if we're getting replaced by larger businesses, and I've always felt like West Dallas, since I've worked here for the last 25 years, has been all about the small community and the small businesses. In fact, that is the charm of what everything was here, was people coming here with just a dream and opening a company and building it over the years. And I'd certainly like to see as many of us as we could keep on the map before we're entirely taken over by larger corporate entities. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Anybody else wish to address the council under public participation? All right, seeing none, we will close public participation We will move to item F on our agendas. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. Those room numbers are listed on the bottom of page 1 on your agendas. If you are here for a action item or a permit or some type of license on this agenda tonight, please make note of what room you should be in, and if you have any questions or if you're unsure, please stop one of us when we break for recess and we'll make sure we get you into the right room. I'll move on to item G, the mayor's report. I just have a few things to share this evening. Coming up, not this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday, May 17th, is the citywide cleanup. That is May 17th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the West Allis Police Satellite Station located at 69th and National. They will provide gloves and pickers, and they will put you out in various parts of the community to clean up from all the winter collection that became evident when the snow melted, and pick up some of our parks and neighborhoods. Children under the age of 18 must be accompanied by a parent or guardian. And if you need further information, you can contact myself or contact Community Services at the Police Department at 302-8050. Also that day, the Department of Public Works is having an open house and a job fair from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m., and that is at the Public Works facility at 6300 West McGeo Avenue. It'll be an afternoon of fun and learning about DPW. You can tour the facility, get a firsthand look at the operations, watch demonstrations, check out the vehicles up close, which the kids love. Games, prizes, and drawings. There will be a food truck on the grounds as well. There is also going to be a job fair on site, so if you are looking for work, you can stop by and speak to DPW staff about regular and seasonal job openings, and you can actually apply right on site. Also wanted to note, just due to this event, the city collection site, or the city dump, will be closed that day due to the event. And the day after that, the Southwest Suburban Health Department and the Liberty Heights Neighborhood Association are hosting a bike rodeo on Sunday, May 18th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the West Allis Farmers Market. Registration for this event is required, although it is a free event. Participants must be checked in by noon to participate. Children aged 4 through 14 can bring their bikes for an afternoon of fun, including safety checks, free helmets while supplies last, helmet fitting, skill courses, lunch, and raffle prizes. And once again, this is a free event, but registration is required. That does conclude the mayor's report this evening. We will move now to item H. Are there any reports from the alderpersons?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Halverson.
A couple things on my list. This is for District 2 and 3, but State Fair has a bunch of construction going on right now. Like, everything's under construction, and you might have seen signs that say, hey, you can't enter, ticketed entry only, stuff like that. I don't know how long it's going to be, but at least for the time being, they don't want us in there. Can't walk your dog, you can't hang out. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Hopefully we'll hear something before State Fair opens. And my other item is the Suburban Singers have a Beauty and the Beatles concert coming up Friday, May 16th at Dotke. Tickets, if you buy them ahead of time, seniors and students are $7, adults are $8. Otherwise, it's $10 at the door, and you got to give it to me, cash only. Sunday, May 18th, they're also at Luther Manor at 2:30. Again, $10 at the door. That's all I have.
Mayor Devine.
Thanks, Alderman Halverson. Alderwoman Novak.
Just to piggyback on what Alderman Halverson had to say, he had asked me prior to, I reached out to a contact at State Fair Park, and the construction should be done end of June, early July is what they're shooting for.
Thank you. Any other alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
I move for approval of the April 15th, 2025 Common Council minutes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there are no corrections or adjustments, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The minutes are approved. And we'll move to standing committee reports. We have, start with the Public Works Committee. Alderman Rote.
I move in accordance with the committee report on item 3 on tonight's agenda.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll
Mr.
ask the
Chair?
clerk to call, yes?
So just to make sure, this was an item that was held over from the last meeting, so I don't believe there was a recommendation coming from committee on this one.
So we need a second?
Well, the council could simply adopt it if they wish to right now, or it could be referred back to committee. Either one would be acceptable, but I want to make sure the council knew that this was before the council without an adoption, without a recommendation from the committee.
Thank you.
Mayor
Alderwoman
Devine,
Grisham?
I believe that we were going to take it back to committee for discussion tonight.
We can move it back to committee
Okay, second,
Okay.
if we need a second.
Unless there's no objection, I'll just, so ordered. Okay, thank you. Then we'll move on to public safety.
Mayor Devine,
Alderwoman Grisham.
I move for approval of the Public Safety Committee recommendation for revocation of Class B Tavern License ALC 22130 for Stefik LLC.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Attorney Decker?
the clerk did not receive any argument or objection from either party in this case.
And that deadline was?
May 1st.
May 1st, thank you. All right, if there's no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Novak.
Aye.
Noling.
Aye.
Roach.
Aye.
Turner. Grisham.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Then we'll move to item K. Alderman Haas?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Devine. There has been a request for item 24 to be referred back to committee for action on the May 20th council meeting. So not for action tonight on item 24, but action on the May 20th council meeting. And that would be specifically going to the Economic Development Committee. Are there any other requests for separate action for items on our consent agenda? Then seeing none, I move for approval of the consent agenda minus item 24.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Novak.
Aye.
Noling.
Aye.
Roach.
Aye.
Turner. Grisham.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. And then Attorney Decker, procedurally, do we need to move item 24 back to committee, or?
So, because it's a procedural motion, you could simply say it will be referred back to economic development and postponed until May 20th, unless there's an objection.
Okay, any objection? Thank you. All right, then we are up to item L.
Yeah, item L, Mayor Devine, I move that the council stand in recess until the conclusion of our committee meetings.
Second.
Here's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? We are in recess.
Okay, well, Public Works to order. All 5 members are present. And I'm going to start with 39 because I don't know quite how to react to number 3 here, so we're going to wait for Kale to come in here. Unless you have an idea, do you?
Here you go.
That was the one we brought back from council.
Let's wait for Kale.
Okay. Okay, item 39 is 2025-3008008. Discussion regarding the city establishing a drop-off site for squeezable snack plastic pouches and caps. And I will turn it over to Mayor Devine.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Short of it is, about February or March, I got an email from an employee. The employee might be our city attorney, and he made me aware of a program that the Go Squeeze pouches that anybody with younger kids is very familiar with, has a recycling program that is free. You just have to set up a drop box. You can print prepaid shipping labels and ship to them. If you ship in excess of 10 pounds, you can actually get money back that will go towards a school or towards a designated program. So he said there was nothing in the Milwaukee County area that did this collection. So similar to things like, Kiwani's having eyeglass buckets outside for old eyeglasses and things like that. We decided to make it an Earth Day idea and kind of announced that we were working it on Earth Day as an environmental effort. And really all we have to figure out is where we're going to put the box. And then there's really no cost except someone on staff printing a label and putting it in the mailroom. So that's the gist of it. It's called TerraCycle.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that's basically it. The caps are then cleaned and separated by material type, and they are recycled into raw formats that manufacturers use to make new products. I'll take any questions.
And these would be, we don't know where yet, the boxes?
Well, depending on the popularity, we could tentatively have one here and one at DPW where people drop off.
Is this
anything we want? It could be our old cardboard box we save. We don't have to have a specific container.
Okay, you might want to stay away from the cardboard because they had all these drop-offs at McCarty Park around all the ball diamonds for food for families or some sort of food drive. And first night it rained and they were all kind of.
Yeah, and if it's at the yard site, we'd probably not use cardboard. We'd probably use something a little more durable.
That'd be my only thought. Anybody else on
Mr.
that?
Chair?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we could probably just use a recycling bin and overload that. Is this for any type of cap and pouch? Like, it doesn't have to be Mott's or a specific brand?
There were 4 that they showed on the website.
Okay.
I can't remember the exact names because my kids are 17 and 20 now, and I haven't bought them lately.
For sure.
But it was Go-Go Squeeze, and it was a couple of like the applesauce pouches and their plastic caps.
Okay.
So it's eliminating a single-use container.
I mean,
recycling it.
I try not to buy those because they're single use, so.
And I've heard that from other parents that they don't like buying the Go-Gurts and the things that have so much packaging. So this will help. It's just a small green footprint initiative.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other members?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Cool.
Discussion item, okay, so just run with it, right?
Unless you tell me not to.
Do it.
Anybody want to do that?
Run, Dan, run.
Okay, now we go to
Mayor
item
Devine,
3, and
I'm
we're
sorry.
still attorney-less.
So, you know what, Mr. Chair? if I
Yes,
may?
please.
Yeah, I have some insight here. If you want to read out the item, I think we can resolve this.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I can tell you what's going on.
Okay, item 3 that we had out on the council floor here 10 minutes ago is Resolution 2025-0637, resolution to approve an amendment to the privilege agreement between the City of West Allis and Walter Holtz of the DECO at 7140 West Greenfield Avenue for use of a designated portion of South 72nd as a pedestrian mall. Alderman Haas.
Yeah, thank you. And Mr. Holtz, you're Mr. Holtz, right? Yeah, if you can come up to the table, please. And yes, Madam Clerk Tracy had alerted me to this issue, and for other business owners who want to extend the privilege agreement past Labor Day, which I believe is what you're looking to do, as I recall. The other business owners have been brought in before the committee, just to at least have a discussion, have an opportunity to know what's going on, what are your plans here. And so, yeah, your plan, now tell me if I'm wrong, is, yeah, you have the outdoor venue on 72nd Street, and you're planning to extend the use beyond Labor Day.
Just one moment, please. This is actually the item from last time.
Okay.
The item you're referring to is on public safety for the temporary extension. I think we're blending two.
You are,
Yeah, we're blending two.
but that's okay. Thanks, Kevin, for taking the lead on that.
Tried. Yeah.
If I may, Mr.
That's that redirect that we
I
talked about.
believe we were talking about any of the specific dates that weren't listed on the contract per se, is what we talked about, that there was no language in that stated the city would have privilege above any other event otherwise specified
Yeah.
without warning or otherwise.
Thank you, Suzette.
You're
That's the
welcome,
one.
Kevin.
Yeah, that's
There's a
right.
lot going on.
You bailed me out. Thanks.
Yeah. So I don't know if that language is being changed. I guess that's why we would, and is this the first you're hearing of it, Wally?
Yeah, somewhat.
Okay, so we probably would have approved it at our last
Yeah,
common
yeah.
council, but like I said, it was just noted that there's no language in that contract that specifies it. I know we have a handshake, I know that we're in good terms, on good terms, but contracts are contracts. I'd like to see that verbiage is added to it.
Yeah, just for whatever it's worth, just so the committee understands, we're doing this, we're adding Wednesdays and Sundays, but Wednesdays, this is our third year already. So as far as the Wednesday night music thing goes, it's when, basically Flawless for the last, this will be the third year.
Okay, if I may back you up, these are going to be two separate items that we're discussing. So I don't know if that is pertaining to just having that language change in the contract. And then we'll take up the other.
Past Labor Day, is that what you're?
No, we're not on that one yet.
Yeah, I was mistaken.
He messed
when I
up.
So what
said
are we
that.
talking about?
We're talking about why we didn't approve it at our last committee meeting is because there wasn't language in the contract that specified how we have that arranged. We have the auto show, we have a la
Yes,
carte.
exactly, yep.
Well, we'd like to see language in that contract that specifies if there is it doesn't have to be a la carte, it doesn't have to be, the auto show per se. If we have an event where we would need that space, that language is put in the contract.
Well, my problem with that is, see, what we'd be doing is we'd be doing live music out there. So we'd be booking all the way, basically from literally January 2nd. So we start booking bands, 1, 2, and 3-piece bands. We're trying to bring people, I spent all this money on these outdoor pavilions.
Right.
And the last thing we want, or I think anybody in West Dallas wants, is the whole city empty. So what we're trying to do in order for me to bring people to West Dallas and make this a success, you have to book people, and when booking people, you have to pay them. So with that being said, we're kind of scrapping May because of weather-wise, but we'd be, we want to keep it consistent June, July, August, September. And then we would also be scrapping October. So the last couple of years, we went from May 1st through October 31st. So it was basically 6 months. So we'd be cutting that all the way back from 6 months down to 4 months. But with that being said, with the exception of obviously what we already talked about, the a la carte and the auto show and the things that we spoke about, if I'm booking people and I'm paying people, a good chunk of money, we want to make sure that those people can play on those dates.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
However, I think part of the sell in you having this set up and we giving you that lease was, there were kind of those guidelines set up front. So I just would like to see that language is put in the contract, is what I'm saying.
How do we do that?
That would be a good question for our city attorney, if he were here.
I messaged Kel and asked him to come up.
Okay, so
after he's done.
he'll be
thank
up.
you.
And that, I mean,
Kind of works through it all and makes it
right,
happen, yeah.
right, it'd be helpful. He's double time right now,
Okay.
so.
He said they're almost done downstairs.
Okay,
so
perfect.
He'll be up shortly if we want to recess.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can just go right to.
Do you want to recess this,
yeah.
and then we can kind
Yeah,
of,
sure.
Kay will come back up anyhow, and then I can move forward with the other.
As far as
All right.
times or anything
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, you're going to be hanging out for the next one anyhow, so if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Okay. yeah,
We're in
okay.
recess.
Okay, we are in
So ordered.
recess. Okay, so. Operators License Bartender, Class D Operator Renewal Application for Nathan McFadden. Mr. McFadden, please come forward. Mr. McFadden, you probably haven't been before council, the committee before in past. I see that this is for a renewal. Where are you bartending currently? Baz's, okay. And looking at your record, usually what happens is if something comes up on the report, we ask questions about it. However, this is not a conviction that's on your record at the time, so it's not really going to be something that we are considering, if that makes sense. So with that being said, we appreciate that you have come. I'm sure that you have bartended there in past. You'll make sure that there's any problems. You're going to cooperate with the police and do a fine job.
Indeed. I actually already passed class with the state required, even though they didn't require it yet.
Oh,
Just to go ahead and be proactive.
well, that's
Thank
really,
you.
that's really good to hear. That's what we would like to hear.
I brought copies of that, so if
Okay.
anybody wants, they can have them.
Fantastic. Do any other committee members have any questions for Mr. McFadden?
I move approval.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Mr. McFadden.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, item 46. 2025-2773 operators license, bartender Class C operator renewal application for David Enzer Jr. Is Mr. Enzer Jr. here?
Yes.
Hello, how are you? Okay. Mr. Enzer, you are also here for a renewal of your bartender's license. Where are you bartending?
Rockstar Saloon.
Rockstar Saloon. Am I familiar with where that's at? Where's Rockstar Saloon?
5826 West Burnham.
5826 West Burnham. Okay. And do you work there full-time or part-time?
Part-time.
Okay. Mr. Enzer, there are a couple things that showed up on your record that are very concerning for our committee. And they're fairly recent, so I would like you to have the opportunity, because these types of violations are substantially related to the licensing activity. When you have OWIs, it's a very serious situation where you're serving alcohol. We need to know that you're making good choices, and having OWIs isn't necessarily making good choices. So with that being said, we also have the opportunity here to see if you have met kind of the requirements of showing that you've had some rehabilitation and what you've learned from this, and where we're going to go from here based on how you explain and what you've learned.
I completed my safety course.
Okay.
Safety class.
What did that require?
21 hours of safety meeting
Okay.
at MATC.
Okay, is that just standard? What usually would be?
Assessment.
Yeah, okay. And I see that you have, is there one?
It's just
Okay.
one, yes.
Okay. So this is your first ever OWI, okay. So you've completed the assessment. Your driver's license status currently is?
Revoked.
Okay, and will you be able to get your driver's license back? Okay,
In process with EMT, because I have, excuse me, 2 vehicles that were junked years ago. And I'm filling out paperwork and sending them in to get those off my record
okay.
so I can get the,
All right, so once you're able to get your driver's license back, you'll be able to do all the compliance and what the courts are requiring of you?
yes.
Okay. All right, I don't have any further questions. Do any other council
Madam
members?
Chair?
Please, go ahead.
How did you get here tonight?
My boss drove me.
Good answer.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. That's not always the answer we get.
Yeah, people been bagged,
They were smart.
thank you.
I move approval.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Good luck.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, okay, go, that's my point, go for it, bro. Yeah, I noticed that, yeah,
Okay.
I know it was coming.
All right, item 47, 2025-3013, operator's license, bartender Class D operator renewal application for Rhonda Koloff. Ms. Koloff? How are you this evening?
I'm well. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. Okay, Ms. Koloff, you were brought before council because there's a couple things, or committee, a couple things on your record as well, and that's as recent as 23 and 24. Where are you currently working?
I work at Kips now.
Hips? Okay. And were you, I don't think you were brought before the committee before, right?
No.
Okay. Because usually something like underage alcohol sale is something that you could definitely be brought before the council for. I see that you have 2, but the criteria typically would be within a certain amount of time. But that doesn't negate the fact that it's still serious and that we look at it seriously when we're issuing bartenders licenses. The fact that 2 of these and so close within a year or 2 of one another gives me reason to pause. Can you give some background as to what you've done differently or can do differently to make sure you're not serving to underage?
Yeah, I have been carding people who were born in the 80s.
Okay.
If I don't know you, I don't care if you have an oxygen tank and a locker, show me an ID.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, if I may.
Please.
Yeah, these two offenses, the 2023 offense and the 2024 offense for underage alcohol sales, was that while you were working at Kips Inn, or was it someplace else?
No, it was at Kim's.
Yeah, and this is really problematic, I think, that not just once, but twice, and within a 7-month period. You're telling us what we want to hear, and that's important to but that's, I believe you that you are carding people. But yeah, I want you to know if there's ever a third offense, well, then there'd be no way that I could ever support a renewal of a license.
I would 100% understand that.
Okay, do you have anything further?
No, I don't.
Okay, do any of the other committee members have any? Okay. I'm just going to enforce what Alderman Haas had said too. We take this really seriously. We've had a couple that have had to come in, and the last thing you want to do is be sanctioned or lose your license. I'm sure, you received a citation, correct? Okay, all right.
Yeah, how much was that citation?
I believe it was $186, $87.
For each of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, I move approval.
Okay.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Ayes have it.
Just be careful.
I will do so,
Please.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going backwards here. Yep. All right. So item 48, 2025-30-18, Class B, Tavern Seasonal Temporary Premise and Public Entertainment Extension Request for the Deco, 7140 West Greenfield Avenue for outdoor dining with entertainment music from May 23rd, 2025 until November 1st, 2025. Hi again, Wally.
Hello, hello.
This is what I was talking about.
Yes, and Kale, we had two things for Wally because we had that item 3 that came back too. So we recessed that with Public Works, and we're here doing this one now.
Sounds good.
All right. Now, Wally, going to these dates of what you said about booking the bands and whatnot, totally appreciate it. We've had this so many times with Paulie's asking for extensions. However, with Paulie's, what we typically had done is the reason he wanted that extension was usually for Oktoberfest. Now, are you looking for all of those weekends into November to have events, or is there something specific?
Well, we have Fridays and Saturdays, correct?
Correct.
So, yeah, so this is specifically, as I said earlier, the last couple of years we did Wednesday night music, May 1st through October. Where May gets chilly, October gets chilly, so we're canceling those out. So to answer your question, no, this wouldn't go into October, wouldn't go into November. And it would be at the city's access. They'd have access to that all the way from literally October 1st through May 30th. So all we're asking for is just an extension on what we already had for June, July, August, September on Wednesdays, and then adding the Sundays. That's it. And that would also be with the understanding that with the car show and a la carte, that's off the table. That's for the city.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, all we would be adding is just Sunday for those couple months.
Okay.
And for any of the members or the council members that aren't aware, we just built 2 incredible structures, and I think everybody in the city, and at least the feedback we're getting is very positive, and they want to see people there.
Right,
They
right.
don't want to see empty structures sitting there.
Right.
So, with our weddings, which is great, and we bring, thousands of people to West Allis, but at the end of the day, a lot of those people are one and done. And when it comes to our Wednesday night, there again, it is Wednesday night, so a lot of people have work the next day, whereas when you're doing a Sunday deal, then you're really bringing people from all the way, Muskego and Franklin and, even all the way as far as Illinois, and they're actually, turning that into a destination and they're really seeing what West Allis has to offer. So
Right.
when you're doing something like that and you're extending the hours on a Sunday, a quote-unquote Sunday fun day, not only is it good to see activity, it's also good for West Allis. They, might see housing, they might see this, they might see that, where, I mean, we have it happen time and time again. It just happened the other day with the Whammy Awards here, and they're like, not just the deco, they're seeing all the transition that's going on in West Allis. And not only the deco, I think, the whole staff in West Allis wants to see people, want to show people what's going on in the community.
Right, absolutely, and you got me sold.
Yeah, so anyways, in a nutshell, that's what we're doing, but
Right.
it's, the whole Sunday thing is not a get-rich thing for us. It's more that it justifies my expense of what we've done there, and it also, it's nice for the community, and it's also nice for people that do perform there.
Right.
If you do get a few raindrops, you have some cover now.
Okay, and Wally, just to have consistency, we added that for Paulie's location when he had the extension as well. However, to be consistent, it's only until 7 p.m. You're asking till 8 p.m. on Sundays.
That's fine.
Would you be fine with amendment on that?
And I just, I just accepted it, but we're planning on like 12 to 7 or something like that, so we'd be fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do any of the other committee members have anything to add or amend or question? Okay. So I would move for approval of the extension with an amendment of Sundays from noon to 7 p.m. instead of noon to 8 p.m.
I second it.
All right.
Before we do it, can we do it 11? Or is that a problem going a little bit earlier? Just because we probably won't, but just in case,
I don't see any issue with 11.
yeah.
Then I second that.
All right.
11 to 7. 11
right.
a.m. to 7 p.m. on
So-
Sundays.
Amend? All right, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. And now, I just have one more thing. You can stay sitting there, and then we'll adjourn, and then Alderman Rowe can pick up
Oh, you want to
his.
go to 49?
Yeah,
already?
I'm just going to do 49 real quick,
Oh,
and that's
please, go ahead.
2025-2398, Class ABC, alcohol license renewal applications. Is there a motion?
I move approval.
Okay, there's a motion. I'll second it. That's okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Okay.
You can stick around.
Oh, yeah.
We have to go back to
Yep, oops.
We'll call Public Works back
the last item.
in session. And we're going to go back to item 3. I can certainly reread it again for our city attorney. We're on item 3. We held it for your opinion, for your verbiage. You want me to read it again, or you're?
You got it. What's the question?
What was it?
The question was,
please.
the reason why it was brought back, if I may, I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
Okay. We did not approve it last time because there wasn't language in there that specified that if the city had any specific events outside of the handshake, knowing that it was the auto, or the car show, a la carte and whatnot, that we would have felt more comfortable with some language saying that the city should have some rights to that space if we do have an event. So Wally explained it to us while you were downstairs.
Yeah, well, in a nutshell, we're going from 6 months to 24 months, but the whole purpose behind this, with the Sundays is, well, with the booking of bands and all that, and you have to pay the deposits and all that up front in January and February, sometimes even in December, so we would need to lock that in, only because otherwise we wouldn't be able to run a business.
And to be honest, at this time, I would be happy to just do a motion to approve.
I don't think that's the issue here. This is just a language change in the privilege to use the space.
Correct.
On Fridays and Saturdays. Wednesdays and whatever was just handled, or what Wally was discussing. But this was just a simple change. He didn't have to get a permit for Fridays and Saturdays because he has access to that area. And that was the only language change that was added to the agreement that my staff outlined.
Okay, I'm confused because our last meeting was, we
Then there
specified.
was something that was set up here that I was unaware of.
Okay, all right. Let's
Mr. Chair?
rewind.
Please, Hale.
What's presented in item number 3 on the agenda, there were only 2 changes that were made to the existing privilege agreement. One of them was to add provision saying that Mr. Holtz has to have a restroom accessible between 6 a.m. and midnight for that location. Could be either within his building or using a temporary facility at Port John. And then deleting the requirement that Mr. Holtz gets a special event permit for those Friday and Saturday night dates. Originally, it had that requirement in there that he has to get a special event permit for each Friday and each Saturday. But since he's already essentially got permission to use those areas or that area between certain times on Fridays and Saturdays, the idea would be that requiring a special event permit would be duplicative.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was the only changes in the agreement that were presented in item 3.
Okay,
So
well-
the other argument about the bid or anything like that, or any
Right.
events like that, is that related more to the alcohol licensing or exclusivity?
Trying to back up what we discussed, Kevin.
Yeah.
And really,
We were confused. We didn't
Maybe-
have the document in
right.
front of us. You have the document in front of you.
Right.
As you're talking about it, Kale, we were dealing in the abstract.
right,
What you're saying reassures everything, I think, and
right.
that we can approve based on what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just what Kevin said. So,
So I move approval.
second. All 3 seconds.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
And Wally, I apologize if there was any confusion. Same to you, Patrick. That's okay. That's okay.
Figured out.
Yeah.
We get that way
We sure
sometimes.
did, didn't we?
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
We're adjourned.
I'm good on Fridays and Saturdays.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll call the council back to order. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Grob.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Halverson.
Here.
Keen.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Noline.
Yep.
Rote.
Here.
Turner. Grisham.
Here.
9 present.
We have a quorum. We will begin with the Administration Committee, and I will ask the clerk to read out that report.
The Administration Committee recommends adoption of item 36, 37, and 38.
Who's vice chair?
Oops, hey, I am, sorry. Hi, welcome to the committee
Good
meeting.
evening.
I move in accordance with the committee report.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Grob.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
Keen. Novak.
Aye.
Noline.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner. Grisham.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. And then Public Works Committee had one discussion item, but then one item, correct? So I'll ask the clerk to read out that report.
The Public Works Committee recommends adoption of item number 3.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance of the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Road. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Grob.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Novak.
Aye.
Noline.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner. Grisham.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Thank you. And then we'll move to the Economic Development Committee.
The Economic Development Committee recommends granting of item 40, granting of item 41 with the amendment to add the outdoor space to the premise and for the previous owner to surrender the current license, and denial of transfer of item 42 due to complaints at their current location.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance with the committee report.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Grob.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Novak.
Aye.
Noline.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner. Grisham.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. And next up is Public Safety.
The Public Safety Committee recommends approval of item 43, notice of non-renewal allowing the applicant the opportunity to reappear for item 44, granting of item 45, 46, 47, granting of item 48 with the amendment of Sunday hours of 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. only, and granting of item 49.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance with the Public Safety Committee report.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Haas.
I move that we adjourn until our next scheduled meeting, Tuesday, May 20th, 2025.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.